and strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Oh, man, folks, I think last night was one of the most comical, meme-worthy debates in presidential history. Now, I'm a person that always tells people when it comes to politics, they always convince you that you have to be on either side. But the smartest thing to do is understand that when it comes to politics, it's about standing on sides of the issues that face you or the issues that directly affect you. But we have Donald Trump and Joe Biden, one of the most comical debates of all time. I know you've seen the many times Joe Biden was glitching on live TV.
And strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Now, me, see, I'm a person, I'm not on like really too far left or too far right. I'm here about the issues that directly affect me. But when I see this happening in America, it really makes you question the leaders that we have in charge and how just all the other nations are kind of laughing at us because they see the weak figures that we have in place in terms of leadership. Now, if you don't believe me, at the end of this video, I'll even let you know how people from Joe Biden's direct side of the political world are even worried about him. People who typically had to take the hard stance against Trump are even coming out at Joe Biden. And this just goes to show the times that we're really in and how detrimental this really is to the nation of America. And if it doesn't get any worse, this is the most viral clip that everybody's been seeing when he just keeps on glitching out on live TV, and Trump even has to call him out at this point. It's getting ridiculous.
The total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look.
Now, since we're going to talk about the subject of borders, we all know the issues that's happening with the border crisis. If you don't know, there are a lot of people from different countries being let into America. And there was a situation where a little girl was, something traumatically happened. She was sexually assaulted and killed by people who were migrants, and they came across the border. So Trump's stance is that you keep letting all these different people in, and they're stealing jobs, which I'll get into later about why Trump has the black people in just uproar over something he said during his live debate, which was very intriguing, but I'll break it down. But the funny thing is why politicians lie, and you have to be very careful. So though Joe Biden was telling people that he's done a lot for the border, I want you to see what the actual border, the people of the Border Patrol, they actually had to say about Joe Biden.
Increase the number of asylum officers significantly. By the way, the Border Patrol endorsed my position. In addition to that, we found ourselves in a situation where when he was president, he was taking separate.
Now, I know if you're one of those people who don't believe everything you see, let me actually take you to the actual tweet that they put out saying this themselves. To be clear, we have never endorsed Joe Biden. Now, what type of country do you have to be in when the Border Patrol is coming against their own president? That's how bad it must actually be at the border. But as I say, I'm no one to pick either side. I want to take you to the clip where Trump had said something relative to this border issue and how it kind of has the black people paying close attention to what he said and why he used this word the way he used it.
Sure as you're sitting there, the fact is that his big kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking black jobs now, and it could be 18, it could be 19, and even 20 million people. They're taking black jobs, and they're taking Hispanic jobs, and you haven't seen it yet, but you're going to see something that's going to be the worst in our history.
Thank you.
Once this touches the shade room, everybody in Black America is going to be on this. This has people in uproar. Like, what the hell does he mean by black jobs? And then you have some people who really understand what he meant. But when you think about it like this, when you call something a black job, what actually is a black job? There's no such thing as a white job, right? But it only applies to the minority group. When they refer to black jobs, they're typically trying to refer to the type of jobs that a migrant can get who doesn't actually have citizenship in the U.S. So it could be some type of factory jobs, construction jobs. This is what he's referring to when he says black jobs, but people kind of took it out of context, and he also didn't do a good job of explaining what the hell even is a black job and why does the color of one's ethnicity have to determine the type of job they have when there's no such thing as a white job. So this kind of has the world in uproar, but most people who are dissecting and taking away the color aspect from the situation are basically can understand the type of jobs that migrants typically get and how it does affect black people in a sense, because these are the type of jobs that most of them do have. So when you really think about it, what other jobs can they replace? They're not coming here and becoming lawyers, doctors, or whatever the case may be. They're typically coming at jobs with people who don't have the highest education or people who do have felonies can still work jobs at. This is why he's saying there is competition. And when you talk about black people, you're not essentially putting the minority groups first, because you're allowing people from other countries to take jobs out of their hands, and then it becomes more of a competitive marketplace. So that is what he was trying to say, but the way he worded it did not help him at all. But if you really didn't take the time to watch the debate for yourself, I mean, there's literally compilations out about how bad Joe Biden was just on the stage, just glitching out the entire time. And it even made the people in politics who had to vouch for him at a point in time question his strength to be able to continue this presidency and what America will be like if it's in his hands.
It's so sad.
We got it down to 35. We got to significantly increase the credits. The idea, if you lose again,
I will absolutely. There's nothing I'd rather do.
President Trump, as I come back to you for a follow-up.
Ever with me. And he's going to take
how much prescriptions they need. You know what that did? That reduced the federal deficit.
We are very, very close to World War III.
And by the way, I told you before, I'm happy to play golf if you carry your own bag. Think you can do it?
That's the biggest lie. That he's a 6 handicap of all.
I was an 8 handicap.
Yeah.
8.
Never.
But I had, you know how many?
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
Okay,
Let's
let's
not act like children.
President Trump, we're going to turn
Let's not act like children.
to a specific
I'd like to see him
concern.
take one, just one, a real easy one. Like go through the first 5 questions. He couldn't do it.
Like any black student is capable in college of doing any white student can do. They just have the money, but now they'll be able to get.
I've never seen him fire anybody. I did fire a lot. I fired.
Now, don't get me wrong. You have to watch the full debate to understand it at context. Joe Biden did have some good points. He was able to articulate himself in certain things. He did be able to come and get through certain things, but his delivery just wasn't on par. And the way he was kind of wording these things, it just made the delivery not even really matter, which is kind of effed up to say, but it honestly happens. But truth be told, since I'm not on like either side and I'm kind of like in the middle because I pay attention to both, Trump never really answered any questions. He kind of just said what Joe Biden didn't do, and there were certain times I was even hoping that he would like really hammer away with a fact. Didn't hammer away with any facts. And truth be told, you got to go fact check to see if these politicians are lying, because you never really know if they're telling the truth, because all they would do is say something and they would say, well, that's absolutely not true. You're actually lying about that. So who actually was telling the truth? But the big key here is how even people in politics feel about Joe Biden right now.
Continues right now. Minutes into the debate, and it continues right now. It involves party strategists, it involves elected officials, it involves fundraisers. And they're having conversations about the president's performance, which they think was dismal, which they think will hurt other people down the party in the ticket, and they're having conversations about what they should do about it. Some of those conversations include, should we go to the White House and ask the president to step aside? Other of the conversations are about, should prominent Democrats go public with that call, because they feel this debate was so terrible.
I mean, when you think about it, to get behind that performance is absolutely just demoralizing to the nation. And if you got to support that, it definitely will affect you at some point in time, because this is just not the person you can have sitting in chair, running and maintaining such a high level of leadership for a whole country. And you could barely sit on a press conference and debate your presidential, I guess, opposite, and hold a steady conversation without mumbling over your words and literally glitching on live TV.
That was an unmitigated disaster for President Biden from the second he walked out to the closing statement. The biggest issue for Democrats is abortion, and he couldn't give an answer. He gave an answer, he couldn't even give a coherent answer on the biggest issue for Democrats tonight. I've heard from leading Democrats across the United States, elected governors, congressmen, who are texting me and saying, I'm worried I'm going to lose if Joe Biden's at the top of the ticket.
And there you have it, folks. Once your own team starts to come against you, what more can you really do? And to top it off, I mean, just look at how this lady treats Joe Biden after the debate is over.
No, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the facts. And let me ask the crowd, what did Trump do? Why?
Well, you got to pay very, very close attention to politics. It's a very dirty game. I mean, she's talking to him like he's a good puppet. I mean, oh my God, we're so proud of you, Joe. You were able to actually go up there and do your job and provide facts and actually hold a good debate. We are so proud of you. You're such a good boy. And then just look at him again, almost looking like he's not even there at this point. But as you can see, to control the narrative, the biggest thing they want to do, well, what did Trump do? Lie. What did Trump do? Lie. What did Trump? A criminal. You went out there and you had sex with a prostitute. You cheated on your wife while she was pregnant. So it's very, very about narrative control and how they view you, even though his son is actually a criminal as well and a convicted felon as well. So it's very much about controlling the narrative. That's why with politics, you figure out what issues directly affect you and you don't fall too far left or right, because this is how they tricked you. And they want you to fall into something when honestly, looking at history, both parties have done a lot of racist things. If we want to talk about it and we want to figure out which is best for black people, be very cautious in what you're paying attention to. But yes, this is one of the most interesting debates I've ever seen in my whole entire life. And I don't know where we're going with this presidential candidacy. I don't know where we are as a country, and the leadership is just very, 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 very interesting. So I highly encourage you to watch that debate and take a look at all this stuff live for yourself. It's your boy Dre. You let me know your thoughts. I'm gone. I will talk to you folks soon. Peace.